In the year 2342, Earth had changed in many ways. Cities floated above the clouds, machines grew food, and humans traveled through space. But deep beneath the ice of Antarctica, something older than all of human history waited silently. Lina Velasquez was not a soldier or a hero. She was a young archaeologist who loved ancient history. Her parents were both scientists, and she grew up around books and fossils. She believed the Earth still had secrets no one had found. When she was invited to join a special research mission under Antarctica's melting ice, she felt her dream was finally coming true. The research station was built far below the surface. Powerful drills had opened tunnels into the ancient ground. Ice walls shone blue under soft lights as the team walked deeper each day. They were searching for natural changes in Earth's history, but what they found was not natural at all. The 12th day, one of the drilling teams stopped suddenly. Their machines had hit something hard, not rock, not ice. When Lina arrived at the site, her heart beat faster. She saw a wide, flat surface buried in ice. It was smooth and covered with strange carvings. "It's not just a rock," Lina whispered. To herself, it was made. The carvings were like symbols, not like any language she had seen before. As they dug further, they found steps leading down. The ice became warmer, and the air felt different. It was as if the place was still alive somehow. They reached a large underground chamber. Inside, stone walls stood tall and strong, even after millions of years. At the center of the room was something glowing softly. A device shaped like a paw. Circle stood upright. It hummed quietly, like it was waiting. The lead scientist of the team, Dr. Alan Croft, looked shocked. He turned to Lina. "This is older than anything we've found," he said. "But this device, it's still active." Lina stepped closer. The device gave off a low pulse of light. Then a line of symbols appeared on the ground, shining for a few seconds. Lina read them slowly. She could not understand the words, but one part looked like a message. She reached into her bag and pulled out a scanning pad. After hours of study, she found something strange. The symbols were similar to a few old cave marks found in Africa, which were never explained. The patterns matched in a way that could not be random. And then the final translation came through. "We were the first. You are the last." Lina stared at the words. What did it mean? Who were the first? And how could this message be waiting for so long under the ice? Over the next 2 days, the team sent full reports to Earth Command. A special group from the Global Science Council arrived quickly. They took over the site and began testing the glowing device. It was made of unknown materials and powered by energy that did not match anything in their records. After testing, the scientists made a shocking discovery. The device was a time beacon. It had the ability to open a small doorway in time, but only to one specific point. The signal pointed to a date 4 million years ago. The council decided it was too important to ignore. They planned a secret mission to travel through the beacon. A small group of 6 people was chosen, 3 scientists and 3 trained protectors. Lina was one of them. "This is not just a journey," her mentor told her. "It's a chance to see a part of Earth no one has ever seen. But be careful. What you find may change everything." On the day of the launch, the team stood in their suits before the glowing circle. Lina looked at each of them. Some were nervous. Some were silent. But all knew they were stepping into the unknown. The beacon began to spin slowly. Lights around it moved faster. The air shook gently, and a clear tunnel of light opened in the center of the ring. One by one, the team stepped into the light. Lina was the last to go. She took one deep breath and walked forward. There was no sound, no weight, no feeling. Only light. And then, her feet touched solid ground. She opened her eyes. Warm wind brushed against her face. Green trees rose high into the sky. The air was clean and filled with soft sounds of birds and insects. She stood in a wide valley, surrounded by untouched nature. The rest of her team stood nearby, amazed that this was Earth 4 million years ago. But even in that moment of beauty, Lena saw something that made her heart race. Far in the distance, high on a hill, stood a tall stone tower. Its shape was too perfect to be natural. And near its base, something moved. Slowly. Watching them, Lena looked at the others. "We're not alone," she said. The past had secrets. And now, the untold story of primal beginnings was ready to be discovered. The warm wind carried the scent of flowers and wet soil. Lena Velasquez stood quietly on the green grass. Around her, tall trees reached toward the sky. Giant leaves moved gently in the breeze. Strange bird-like creatures flew from branch to branch. The land was peaceful, untouched by machines or noise. The rest of the team stood beside her. Dr. Alan Croft held his scanner high. Mira, the mission engineer, checked their gear. The 3 security officers spread out to check the area. Everyone was quiet, still amazed that the time travel had worked. Lena stepped forward and looked around. In the distance, the tall stone tower she had seen earlier still stood on the hill. Its surface was smooth and clean. It did not look broken or old. It looked alive, as if it was still being used. "We need to reach that tower," said Dr. Croft. "It is too perfect to be natural." They began walking across the valley. The ground was soft and warm under their boots. Flowers of strange shapes opened as they passed. The sun above was slightly larger than they were used to. It gave off a golden light that made everything glow. Gently, as they moved, the team noticed something unusual. The forest was full of life, but none of the animals attacked or even feared them. Even large, strange creatures only watched from a distance. It was as if nature here was balanced and calm. After 1 hour of walking, they reached the base of the hill. The tower stood high above them. There were no signs of damage, no cracks, no vines. It looked like it had been built yesterday. Lena walked ahead carefully. She reached the wall of the tower and placed her hand on the stone. It was warm. Not like regular stone. It felt smooth, like glass, but pulsed softly beneath her fingers. Suddenly, a soft voice echoed in her mind. It was not spoken, it was felt. "You carry our breath." Lena stepped back quickly. Her eyes were wide. She looked around. No one had spoken out loud, but the words were clear in her mind. "I heard something," she said. "Not with my ears. It was inside my head." Myra looked confused. "Are you sure?" "I didn't hear anything." Before Lena could reply, the tower wall opened slowly. A doorway appeared where there was none before. A cool breeze flowed from within. The air inside smelled of flowers and clean stone. The team paused. Dr. Croft gave a small nod. "We go in together. Stay alert." Inside the tower, soft light glowed from the walls. There were no lamps or wires. The light just floated in the air like mist. The floor was made of smooth black stone with patterns that moved slowly, like water. At the center of the room stood a tall figure. It was not human. It was taller than any of them, thin and graceful. Its skin was soft gray, and it had long arms and narrow hands. Its eyes were large, clear, and full of calm. The being did not speak. It simply looked at them with kindness. Lena stepped forward slowly. Her heart beat fast, but she was not afraid. She remembered the words she had felt earlier. The being raised one hand in greeting. Then, without moving its mouth, it shared thoughts with all of them. "You are welcome here. You have crossed the river of time. You are the children of our breath," Dr. Croft whispered. "This is not just an alien. This is part of Earth's lost past." The being continued to speak through thought. It called itself Aran. It explained that its people had lived on Earth long before modern humans. They were called the Primal Ones. Their cities were hidden. Their knowledge was great. But they chose not to leave a mark on the world. They lived in balance with nature. Oren looked at Lena with a curious gaze. You carry memory dust. The spark of us remains in you. Lena did not understand at first. But Dr. Croft explained, he means DNA. We may be connected to them. They could be our true ancestors. Mira looked around the tower. Why does no one know about them in our time? How did they disappear? Oren's eyes turned sad. His voice entered their minds again. Darkness came. The sky burned. The sea rose. We could not stop it. We chose to sleep in the earth and leave no trace. Lena felt a chill. She looked at her team. The past was full of stories never told. Now they were standing in one. Oren led them through a long hallway. Along the walls were paintings and carvings. They showed tall beings like Oren, living in green cities, speaking with animals, and singing to the stars. But near the end of the wall, the paintings changed. The sky turned red. Fire fell from above. Cities broke apart. The primal ones stood together, singing one last song before the end. Lena stopped and looked closely. At the corner of the wall, a carving showed a woman with long hair, holding a small box of light. It looked like her. That can't be me, she whispered. Oren looked at the carving. Some things are written before they happen. Some songs return in new voices. Doctor. Croft placed a hand on Lena's shoulder. This is only the beginning. We have just found the first page of the true story. Outside, the sun began to set. The light turned golden-orange. The trees swayed gently in the wind. Somewhere in the distance, a soft sound of music floated through the air. Lena looked out at the wide, ancient world. She felt something deep inside. It was not fear. It was hope. The past was not dead. It was waiting. The sun rose slowly over the green hills. Golden light touched the tall trees and soft rivers of the land. In the distance, towers of white stone shined like morning stars. The world was calm, beautiful, and full of quiet mystery. Lena Velasquez walked beside Oren, the tall being who had welcomed the team. Behind her, Dr. Croft, Mira, and the others followed. The group was now moving toward the heart of the ancient land. Oren called the place Elora. It was the capital city of the primal ones. As they moved closer, Lena could not believe what she saw. The city was not made of metal or wires. It was made from smooth stone, bright crystals, and living trees. Everything was part of nature. Tall buildings rose between waterfalls. Roads curved gently through fields of flowers. The city looked like it had grown from the earth itself. There were no loud sounds, no machines. Just soft music in the air and the sound of water flowing. The people of Elora came to see the visitors. They were tall and graceful like Oren. Their skin was soft gray or pale gold. Their eyes were large and kind. They did not speak with mouths. Instead, they shared thoughts. Their thoughts were full of peace and welcome. One small child walked up to Lena. She smiled and held out a flower made of light. Lena knelt and accepted it. The child gently touched her hand and shared a clear thought. You came from the sky. You are full of questions. Lena smiled and replied, Yes, I came from far away. I want to understand your world. The child nodded and ran back to the others. As the group entered the city, Oren led them to a tall hall made of crystal. Inside, the walls glowed with soft color. Patterns moved across the floor like waves in a calm sea. The hall was called the Memory House. It was a place where knowledge was kept. Oren placed his hand on a stone table. Light rose from the center. A shape formed in the air. It was a map of ancient Earth. Mountains, seas, and cities were shown. In bright colors, small glowing dots moved across the land. They were the homes of the primal ones. Dr. Croft stepped closer. So many cities, so many people. Why did we never find them in our time? Oren looked at him and shared a thought. We lived in balance. We left no scars. When the sky burned, we chose to sleep. We asked the earth to hide us. Lena felt a heavy silence in her heart. This world was once full of life, but nothing remained in the future. The cities, the people, even the memory was gone. Mira looked at the floating map. What burned the sky? Oren turned toward a crystal wall. A new image appeared. A red object moved through space, heading for Earth. It was not just a comet. It was large and fast. Its surface glowed with fire. This came from beyond, Oren said. It could not be stopped. Our leaders chose not to fight. They believed it was time to return to the Earth. Lena stepped forward. You could have escaped. You had time. Why didn't you leave? Oren's eyes softened. We were part of the world. If the world was ending, we would not run. We believed something new would rise after us. Dr. Croft looked at Lena. They didn't vanish. They passed the flame forward. Maybe to us. Later that evening, the team was given a place to rest near the crystal lake. Trees sang with the wind. Strange glowing fish swam in the water. Lena sat on a soft stone and looked at the stars above. They were the same stars she had known all her life, but they felt older here. Oren sat beside her. You carry echoes, he said. Small pieces of us still live in you. Lena turned to him. Do you mean in my blood? Oren nodded. We gave the earth our breath. In time that breath became life again. You are not strangers. You are children of the long road. Lena's heart filled with wonder. The primal ones were not aliens. They were the first ones to walk the earth with wisdom. She felt something warm inside her. She had come searching for answers, and now she held a piece of the truth. The next day, the team visited the Garden of Songs. It was a place where the people of Elora remembered their history through music. The garden was wide and green, filled with singing plants and soft lights. The primal ones stood in circles, holding hands, and sang in their silent way. The song was felt, not heard. It spoke of stars, of love, of peace, and of loss. Lena closed her eyes. The song touched her mind. She saw images of cities rising, forests blooming, children laughing, and then the fire in the sky. She felt their sadness, their hope, and their belief in a future they would never see. When the song ended, Lena opened her eyes with tears. Mira stood beside her, also silent. This is not just science, Mira said. This is something deeper. Something we forgot. As the sun set again, Oren brought the team to the edge of the city. There was a deep pool of light there. It showed the sky and stars. Oren pointed to a small crystal floating above the pool. This is our last gift. He said, it holds our memory, our knowledge, our story. Dr. Croft reached for it slowly. We will keep it safe. Oren looked at him with calm eyes. Not to keep, to share. If your world forgets us again, we will truly be gone. Lena looked at the ancient city, the kind people, and the quiet stars above. She knew this journey was not just about the past. It was about the future. If people back home could understand what they found, the world might change. It might learn to live in peace, like Elora once did. But deep inside, Lena also felt something cold. The comet was real. The sky would burn. And time was moving quickly. The past was full of beauty. But soon, it would face its final night. The sky above Elora remained clear for many days. The sun rose warmly each morning and set gently each night. Trees swayed in the wind. Crystal towers glowed with soft light. The people of the city sang and shared peaceful thoughts. But deep inside the earth, something was changing. Lena Velasquez walked alone near the edge of the Garden of Songs. Her thoughts were heavy. The comet Oren had shown them still filled her mind. She could not forget the glowing red fire moving through the stars toward Earth. She had seen the image clearly. It was not a dream, it was real. And it was coming fast. She sat by a small stream and looked at the sky. A bird-like creature flew over her head and landed on a nearby tree. It made a soft sound like a whisper. Lena felt the beauty of the world around her, but it also made her feel sad. This world would soon be gone. Dr. Alan Croft joined her. He sat on a flat stone beside the stream and looked at the water. "I checked the numbers again," he said. "The comet will enter the sky in less than 12 days. After that, it will strike somewhere in the northern sea. The wave and fire will reach here quickly." Lena nodded slowly. "And they are not preparing. They accept it. They believe it is their time. They have lived in balance for so long," Dr. Croft said. "They don't fear the end. But we do, and we must act." Later that day, the team gathered in the Hall of Thought with Oren and other leaders of Elora. Lena stood before them with calm strength. "You have knowledge. You have power. Why do you not try to survive?" Oren replied with a gentle thought. "We have seen the circle of time. We rise. We fall. We rise again in new form. To hold they world too tightly is to harm it." Mira stepped forward. "But you can pass your knowledge. You can help future life. You can protect what you have learned." Another elder primal one spoke. His voice filled the minds of all in the room. "We built a vault long ago, deep in the stone. It holds our memory, but no one will carry it. We will not run from the end." Lena looked at her team. Then she spoke again, clearly and with care. "Then let us carry it. Let us protect your story. If you do not wish to survive, allow your song to survive through us." The room grew silent. Then Oren nodded slowly. "We will guide you. The vault must be completed. If it survives the fire, your world may one day remember." The next morning, the team began work with a group of young primal ones who wished to help. Together, they traveled deep into the mountains near Elora. Oren showed them a hidden path leading into the rock. Inside was a wide space filled with glowing stones and quiet machines. This was the Vault of Echoes. The place was not finished. Some of the machines were asleep. The crystal records were still being written. The group worked day and night. They placed scrolls of light, memory stones, and small crystals into strong containers. Each piece held stories, songs, science, and pictures of Elora's life. The young primal ones sang as they worked. Their songs made the crystals stronger. Their voices filled the tunnels with peace and hope. Lena helped design a small corner of the vault. It would hold the beacon device they used to travel through time. If someone found it in the future, it could open the path again. She also left a short message carved into a smooth stone wall. "To the future, we give our past. We were not the first, but we may help you be the last." On the 9th day, small signs of change appeared. The wind became hotter. Birds flew in strange patterns. The sky turned slightly red during sunset. The team knew time was running out. Oren came to visit the vault. He looked at the work they had done and smiled gently. "You have done more than we hoped," he said. "You have carried our voice farther than we could." Lena looked at him with respect. "Will you come with us? You do not have to stay here." Oren shook his head. "This is our song's last verse. We do not fear it. But your song continues. That is enough." The next day, the team returned to Elora to prepare their final steps. Mira and Dr. Croft checked the beacon system. It was still active. They could return to their own time at any moment. But something held them back, a feeling. A duty. On the 11th night, the sky glowed with red light. A streak of fire moved far across the stars. It was small at first, but it grew brighter each hour. The comet was near. The people of Elora stood in circles and sang. Their voices, full of calm and beauty, rose into the night. The ground shook softly under their feet. Lena stood with them. She held the small crystal that contained the city's last message. It glowed with soft blue light. Mira touched her arm. "We must go soon. The window is closing." Dr. Croft activated the beacon. A soft light opened behind them. The path back to the future had begun. Lena looked at Oren one last time. He smiled. Go, child of breath. Carry us into the sun. Lena stepped into the light. The others followed. Behind them, the sky began to burn. The comet had not yet touched the earth, but the world already felt its approach. Winds became wild. The sky stayed red even at sunrise. Animals moved toward the mountains. The forest grew quiet. A strange stillness spread across the land of Laura. Lena Velasquez stood at the top of a high cliff, looking down at the ancient city. The people still walked peacefully. Some sang, some planted flowers. Some simply watched the sky. Lena felt troubled. She had returned to the past to learn. But now she wanted to help. She could not watch the world end while doing nothing. Dr. Croft and Mira joined her. They will not fight it, Dr. Croft said. They believe ending is part of life. But what if we can help some of them survive? Lena asked. We cannot save the city, but we can save the memory. And maybe a few lives. Mira looked back toward the valley. Some of the young ones listened to us. Maybe they will come if we ask. That evening, Lena met with Oren again in the Hall of Thought. The crystal walls flickered with orange light from the comet's reflection in the sky. We respect your path, Lena said gently. But we ask for permission to lead another. Let us take those who wish to stay alive. Let them choose. Oren looked at her with kind eyes. We have lived for many ages. We are ready for silence. But if others choose light, we will not stop them. Lena felt a quiet strength inside her. The path was open. Now she had to walk it. The next day, she and Mira gathered the younger primal ones who had helped build the vault. There were 12 of them. Their eyes were bright. Their thoughts were full of questions. Lena spoke clearly and calmly. You have seen what comes. The sky will burn. The sea will rise. We cannot stop it, but we can protect part of what you are. If you come with us, we will hide below the mountains. We will keep the vault safe. We will wait for the world to become calm again. Some of the young ones agreed quickly. Others were afraid, but in the end, 8 stood with her. They wanted to live. Not in fear, but in hope. A small group of builders helped them open an old tunnel in the side of a rocky hill far from Alora. It led to a large cave system under the ground. The place was safe, deep, and strong. They moved supplies into the cave. Seeds, water stones, crystals with light, knowledge tablets. Simple tools, songs stored in glowing cubes. All would help the next life rise when the world became quiet again. The other team members worked non-stop. Dr. Croft repaired the beacon again to keep it alive a little longer. Mira taught the young ones how to read the tablets and care for the machines. Lena shared stories from the future. She wanted them to know that life would continue. Inside the cave, the group carved a message into the wall. It was written in the style of the primal ones, but also in basic human language. It said, "We were the breath of the beginning. If you find us, remember peace." Time was short. On the 7th night, the first piece of the comet entered the sky. It looked like fire tearing the sky in half. The ground shook. The rivers moved faster. Light flashed behind the mountains. Birds flew high into the sky. The animals cried out in fear. The people of Elora stood in the center of the city. They joined hands and began to sing. It was their final song. It was full of beauty, full of love. They accepted the end as part of the journey. Lena stood far away on the hill. She watched with tears in her eyes. She wanted to run to them, but she knew they had chosen their way. We must seal the cave now, Mira said softly. Lena turned and nodded. The young primal one stepped into the cave. Mira pressed the stone button that closed the outer wall. A strong shield of crystal and rock covered the entrance. Inside, the lights glowed. The vault was complete. Dr. Croft looked at his small beacon device. The window is closing. We must return, or we will be trapped. Lena looked at the sealed cave one last time. Will they be safe? She asked. As safe as we can make them. He answered. She stepped into the beacon's light. The others followed, behind them. The world changed. A wave of fire moved across the sky. A red light filled the air. Mountains shook. Trees fell. The city of Elora, the city of peace, was touched by the falling sky. But under the ground, hidden in silence, a small light remained. It waited. The red sky turned to black. Smoke rose from the forests. Fire rolled across the land like waves on a sea. The comet had struck. The earth cried with every breath. Winds howled. Trees broke. Rivers overflowed. The world was no longer calm. Deep. Under the hills, in the hidden cave, 8 young primal ones sat quietly. They listened to the trembling ground. The cave walls were strong. The vault held firm. But the outside world was falling. One of the young ones, named Kale, stood near the glowing wall. His eyes were full of sadness. He missed his people. He missed the songs. He knew many had chosen to stay in Elora. They had sung until the sky burned. It was their way. But his path was now different. Beside him, Lena sat on the cold floor, watching the light dance across the crystal ceiling. She had returned from the beacon, not to safety, but to stand with the last ones. She had asked Earth Command for more time. The beacon could only stay open for a short while longer. She had used that time to come back. She wanted to see if the vault had survived. She wanted to make sure the young ones were safe. Now she was with them, and she was glad she had returned. Dr. Croft and Mira had stayed in the future to protect the knowledge they had brought home. Lena promised them she would return quickly. But as she sat in the cave, feeling the earth shake, she began to wonder if that promise could be kept. Outside, silence slowly replaced the storm. The fire had passed. The land above was quiet once. More, but it was not the same. Elora was gone. The towers, the gardens, the songs, all had been taken by the sky. Kale looked at Lena. Is it over? He asked. Lena nodded. Yes, the worst is past. But the world will take a long time to heal. Kale placed his hand on the vault wall. Then we wait. For many days the group stayed inside. They lived on stored seeds and water stones. The glowing crystals gave light and warmth. Lena helped them learn to read human maps and history. In return, the young ones taught her the songs of the primal ones. She wrote them down on thin memory sheets to take back. One day, Kale brought a small box to her. Inside were 5 memory crystals. He placed them in her hands. This is the heart of Elora, he said. It holds our story, our knowledge, our dreams. Take it to your world. Lena looked at the crystals. They glowed with soft blue light. She felt their importance. They were not just data. They were a living gift from the first great minds of Earth. She placed them inside a small metal case and sealed it. The time to return had come. She stood with the young ones and touched her beacon device. The tunnel of light opened once more, but it flickered weakly. This would be the last window. I must go now, Lena said. But your story will not be forgotten. Kale stepped forward. Will you return again? Lena smiled softly. One day, someone will. Maybe not me. But someone will follow the path. She stepped into the light and disappeared. The young ones stood in silence. Then they sang a soft song. A song of waiting. A song of hope. Lena arrived back in her own time. The research base was quiet. Snow fell outside. Dr. Croft and Mira rushed to her side. She showed them the sealed metal case. They are alive, she said. The vault is safe, and I brought this. They opened the case together and placed the crystals into the reader. The room filled with light and sound. Images of Elora appeared. Towers, gardens, smiling faces. Songs without words. The scientists watched in silence. The truth was now clear. The primal ones were real. They were not just Earth's first thinkers. They were part of what humans had become. Lena spoke to the World Council days later. She stood before leaders, teachers, and explorers. She told them everything: the journey, the people, the end, and the survival of the few. She held up one of the crystals. "This is the light of the past," she said. "We are not alone in our story. They came before us. They loved this world, and now we must carry that love forward." Some in the crowd wept. Some simply listened. The truth had been buried under ice and fire. Now it had returned. In the final moments of her speech, Lena spoke clearly. "We were not the first, but we must not be the last. The past gave us its breath. Now we must give it back through peace, care, and memory." The story of Elora had been saved, but one final chapter still remained. Years had passed since Lena returned from the past. The memory crystals from Elora had changed everything. Scientists around the world had studied them carefully. Each crystal held thousands of thoughts, pictures, songs, and lessons. The primal ones had shared their hearts through light and sound. Lena had become the voice of their story. She gave speeches. She helped design museums. She taught children about the first thinkers of Earth. She told them how the past was not just old. It was alive, waiting to be remembered. One evening, Lena stood on a hill just outside the Global History Center. She looked up at the stars. The wind was soft. The grass moved like waves. She closed her eyes for a moment and remembered the caves. She remembered Kale and the others. She wondered what kind of world they had made after she left. A small voice interrupted her thoughts. "Miss Lena," said a young girl, about 10 years old. She held a small glowing tablet in her hands. Lena turned and smiled. "Hello, what brings you here so late?" The girl showed her the tablet. "I'm reading about Elora, about the song crystals. I wanted to ask you something." "Of course," Lena said gently. "What is your question?" The girl looked up. "Do you think they're still there?" Lena paused. She looked back at the stars again. "I think they are," she answered. "I think they made a life beneath the earth. A quiet life, but a strong one. And maybe, just maybe, they are watching the stars too." The girl smiled. "I want to go there one day. I want to sing with them." Lena's heart felt full. "Maybe you will." Later that year, the World Council launched a new project. It was called Project Elora. Its goal was to build a safe path to the past again, not just to visit, but to build peace between times. The time beacon was made stronger. A team was chosen. And this time, it was not just scientists. Artists, singers, teachers, and children were included too. Lena was asked to lead the mission. She agreed. Before leaving, Lena visited her parents. She told them everything. She promised to return. They hugged her tightly and gave her an old family necklace to take with her. It had a small star-shaped charm that sparkled in the light. The beacon opened one more time. The tunnel of time was clear. Lena stepped through with a new group beside her. This time, she was not alone. She carried hope, light, and the memory of both worlds. They arrived deep in the past again. The land was quiet, but the skies were blue. The fires from the comet had passed long ago. Nature was healing. Green shoots grew where ashes once fell. New rivers had formed. The group found the old hill. They found the vault. And when they entered, they saw something waiting. Kale stood there. He was older now. His eyes still held the light of Elora. Behind him stood the others. Children had been born. The songs were still sung. He stepped forward and smiled. "You came back," he said. Lena nodded. "We did, and we brought friends." The two groups stood together. Then slowly, a song began. It was soft at first, like the wind. Then voices. joined, the cave filled with music from 2 times. Together, they planted new seeds. They built a garden near the cave. They shared knowledge, not just of science, but of heart. They stayed for many weeks. They learned from one another. They played, cooked, and laughed together. The primal ones taught the visitors how to read the sky without machines. The visitors taught the primal ones how to use simple tools from the future. One evening, around a fire, a young boy from the present and a young girl from the past sat together. They looked up at the stars. "Do you think we'll ever live among them?" the boy asked. The girl nodded. "One day. But first, we must learn to live here, together." That was the heart of the story. Not just science, not just time travel, but connection, respect, memory. When it was time to return, Lena stood with Kale once more. "We will come again," she said. Kale placed his hand over his heart. "You are part of our story now." And so, the visitors stepped back through the light. The time beacon closed. But this time, it was not an ending. It was a beginning. Back in the present, the story of Elora spread even more. Children drew pictures of the singing stones. Schools added the songs to music lessons. Artists painted the forests of the past. People began to see Earth not just as a place to live, but as something to care for. Lena placed the family necklace inside the Global History Center, next to the memory crystals. A plaque was added. It read, "To those who came before. To those who sing after, may the circle never break." And far below the earth, in the quiet green of the ancient world, the primal ones kept singing, because the story of Earth was still being written. Together, forever.